Okay, great. Welcome to a step-by-step approach how to write an information security policy. So my name is Santosh Nandakumar. I have close to 18 years of industry experience, born and brought up in information security. So I always get queries like many people get confused in writing how to write an information security policy. But today we are going to discuss that in a very simplified manner. What is the crucial elements which has to go inside a infosec policy? What is the methodological approach to write infosec policy and everything? So on that note, let's get started. So what is an information security policy? It's if you open that, it's no brainer. You'll find the rules, the guidelines and practices, how the organization has to operate information security and how to protect information. So it's more like a rules and guidelines. So now my next question is, how do you derive an information security policy? Okay. So what is the best approach? Go to Google and type information security policy. You will get a Word document and you download it, rename the document to your organization, logo and everything. Tada! Your information security policy is ready. How many of you know this approach? Mic testing one, two, three. I'm not able to see any chat. It's okay if you can unmute yourself and tell me. How many of you know this trick? Am I audible?
Almost, almost
Yes.
all Santosh.
I'm sorry.
Almost all Santosh.
Almost all. So everybody knows this trick that this is how you need to develop an information security policy. And unfortunately, everybody is wrong. The most painful thing I could see is when I tell, can you write an infosec policy? They go to Google and type information security policy and they get some random word templates, download it, change it to your organization logo. That is the most wrongful process in making an infosec policy. So it's like very simple. Okay. So it's like following rules of your neighbor. Okay. Your neighbor might be different. He might be in a different profession. He might be in a different tradition. He might follow different culture. What are you doing? Go to him, ask him like, can you give me your day-to-day life rule book? I will follow that. So if you do that, it's not even effective. You might have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning just because the rule book of your neighbor said that you have to get up at 5 o'clock. You will have to do it. And you have nothing to do from 5 to 9. You're just awake and sitting over there. That is because you're copying somebody else's rule book. Okay, so that's why you need to write your own rule book. It's more like a rule book. Let's call a policy as a rule book. Okay, who writes the rules? Usually it's at the senior management who writes the rules. It's the people who are elders who write the rules, how to run a house. So that's how you can consider. So a rule book for your house should be written by the seniors in your house. You cannot copy your neighbor's rule book and start following it, saying that, okay, the rule book for my neighbor, it was working very good, so let me copy that. Good practices are fine, but entirely copying letter by letter is not even going to go anywhere. So how exactly an information security policy should be derived? Okay, so let's take an example. It's how is information security policy? Okay, it's not information security derived. There is a typo which I missed it over there. So usually your information security, let's take a simple example. Let's not go with information security. So usually you will have a goal. Okay, so what is your goal? I want my house to be safe. Okay, so if your goal has to be, I want my house to be safe, what is the next thing which would come into picture?
How to make it safe?
How to make it safe? What is it called? It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be completely
Path.
like I'm sorry,
The path.
I couldn't hear that. Okay, anyways.
You
So
mean like the procedures to make it safe?
that is again, that goes little deeper. We are at the higher, we are at the higher level. We are still yet to go to the procedures. Okay. So first is
What are the risks that I'm facing to make my home safe? Like I need to
mm,
identify the like
okay,
what are the risks? Like I want to make it safe. So what are the risks then?
good attempt. So before I go to this, there's one more thing called objectives. From my goals, I derive my objectives. So what is the objective in this case? I want to make sure doors are locked, windows are secure, and there is a backup plan if something happens. So if you see that, goal is very broad. It doesn't tell clearly what you need to do to be safe. It will tell what you should be doing. It tells, okay, Santosh, let's have my house to be safe. That's it. But how you intend to do it is something it's not there. So that is where objectives comes next. You derive objectives from your goals. I want to make sure doors are locked, windows are secure, and there's a backup plan if something happens. Now, how do you do this? How do you keep the doors closed, locked? How do you keep your windows secure? I come up with a strategy. Okay. So what is the strategy over here? Your strategy is to install smart locks, security cameras, and an alarm system to protect your house. That is your strategy. Now, will will this help you in your house, right from the kids to elders, to follow that? The strategy is good. By implementing your strategy, you are able to achieve both your goals and objectives. But the problem over here is, will all the people inside your house understand and support you in having a safe house? Or only if you have the entire knowledge on each one of these, then you'll have to stay back at home. You cannot step out anywhere at all. So that is where you are seeking help from your other family members to do it. But strategy is something which is very, very high level again, and they will not be able to understand when it comes to security cameras what they are supposed to do. If there's an alarm system, what they are supposed to do. Your strategy is good. You implemented smart locks, implemented security camera, but what you need to do, that's where a policy will come into picture. So it's like a specific rules everyone in the house must follow, like always locking the doors when you're stepping out, setting the alarm when leaving your house, and checking the cameras if something is working or not. So even if you're not there, even if your kids are around, they'll keep checking if the cameras are working fine. And when they step out to play, they will check, they will ensure that the doors are locked. So this is the actual process. I could have written directly the policy, but the policy would become very broad, and it will not, and we will not understand what exactly the policy is trying to tell us. If you follow this approach, okay, first, you define your goals, and then your objectives, then your strategy, then your policy. Then now, if you look at the policy, it's very clear. It's anybody in the house, when they open the rule book, they know what are they supposed to do. And by doing that, what are they achieving, or what as a, together as a family, what we are trying to achieve is something which we can easily understand. Now, if you take over the same analogy and you put it over for the information security, then always do not write a policy first. Your first thing comes is your information security goals. Okay. So what is your information security goal? We want to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our organization's data. So who is giving the goals and objectives? The senior management. So don't jump into giving a policy the moment they ask, we do not have any policy. Oh, don't worry, I'll write a policy. Go to Google, type access control policy and write it. It will never work. That's not the case. We have to work. It is something we have to follow a structured approach. Now that the senior management has given their information security goals, now we come up with information security objectives. What is the objective over here? We need to protect customer data from breaches, ensure no unauthorized modifications to our financial records, and maintain system uptime of 99.9%. So this is what the objective is. Now, how do we ensure that the customer data is protected all the time? How do we ensure unauthorized modifications are not done? How do we ensure uptime is there? We come up with an information security strategy. Okay. So what is the information security strategy to achieve that? We'll implement encryption for data at rest, and in transit, we'll implement role-based access control, and we'll have redundant systems to ensure availability. By doing this, this is my plan of action to achieve my information security goals and objective. Now, if I tell people, okay, guys, let's implement encryption for data at rest, as an HR, I don't know what needs to be done. If you tell the role-based access control, as an legal team member, I don't know what needs to be done, why it is being done. You need to educate them. So that's where an information security strategy document is usually used as a document to seek budget from your senior management, and it's a high level document which can be giving you a plan of action which is majorly inclined towards CISO and the senior management. So this document alone cannot help others in understanding what is their role. So we have two choices. One, you implement information security across the organization, or you seek help from others in the organization. So when you seek help from others in the organization to implement information security, that becomes more effective in nature. So if I go and tell, see, this is my information security strategy, now you help me in implementing this, HR head, IT head, legal head, they will be clueless. What is this 30-40 pager document? What should I do? So that is where, from your information security strategy, I split it up into multiple policies called information security policy, where all the policy requirements come into this: user access management policy, backup management policy, change management policy, patch management policy. So whenever you talk to anybody in your organization, or whenever you are auditing anybody, okay, ask them, how did you derive your information security policy? If they're able to tell that, Santosh, we have an information security goals, which was decided by my senior management, and we have information security objectives, strategy, and from the strategy, we derived information policy. That's the best organization, or that's the best CISO you're working under. Because nobody, to be very honest, I feel very bad when I talk to multiple CISOs. I'm not telling not every other CISO is doing this, but majority of the CISOs do not even understand this flow, and they have information security policy over there. They do not cover up. You go back and ask your CISO, hey, what is your information security goals for your organizations or objectives, or you have a strategy document derived? They will not have. What they have? Monthly policies. Where did they have? God knows. So if you what will happen if I go and copy somebody else information security policy? It's all same statements. How will it will not be customized or specific to your organization? So it's like taking an information security policy of an hospital and trying to implement for a IT company. How does it look like? The same thing, right? So that's how you need to understand what comes first and how do you derive, and this is the flow. I'll take a pause over here. Any questions?
I'm sorry.
Hi, Santosh.
You go first, or I go first, Anas? I see you talking.
No, I'm not talking.
I have
That was
some.
that was me. Please go ahead. I'll take my question after you. No worries. Thank you.
Can I ask question?
Go
I
ahead.
don't.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, I still have some question about the information strategy and information policy. Like, what is the difference? I still don't get it. Can you probably explain a bit more?
Sure. So you derive policy from a strategy. Like your strategy can be considered as a parent and policy is like a child. So policy should be completely going in depth and covering strategy. So if I write a strategy document and if I circulate in my organization, people will not know from different departments what is their role in implementing information security across the organization. So why do you write an information security strategy? Why can't I write a policy? It will not make sense. You'll not be able to link between which policy we are trying to apply, which objective. So that is why to achieve information security objective, I write a strategy. For example, if you're playing a cricket, okay, I've seen traditionally India versus Australia bowling attack is very good, and India batsmen, they have been one of the best batsmen in the world, but they do not, or they're not comfortable with bounces. So here, if I have to win a match against Australia, my objective is to ensure, my goal is to win a cricket match against Australia. My objective is to ensure the batsmen are comfortable with the complete bowling attack. And what is my strategy? Whenever there is a bouncer, leave it. So that's how it is connected over here. And information security policy tells you the rules. So information security policy is predominantly like a baby, or it's an derivation of an information security strategy, which is going little more depth than what is information security strategy talking about. And this strategy is a 30-pager document, usually developed to get budget for your information security initiatives with the CEO and the senior management. But with that, you'll not be able to tell everybody what needs to be done. So you further derive or further go in depth and split it across domain wise and write an information policy where it would become easier for other departments to understand what are they supposed to do with respect to information security. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Santosh. I have a small query regarding this strategy. So I'll help you understanding the scenario, and you can possibly answer that question in the best possible manner, how to implement that. So for instance, if any organization is getting certified for a framework, specific framework, or let's say ISO 27001, and they already have their information security policies in place, first scenario. Second scenario, they are getting certified, they don't have policies in place, and they will build policies according to the compliance requirement or the policy templates which are being shared by the third party vendor to get certified. What will be the best approach in that case?
Neither of them.
Okay, so help me understand how can we do that?
So if you're going to implement ISO 27001, even that talks about setting up the organization context, understanding the needs and expectations from the interested parties. So that is the common mistake which every other organization do. Like, okay, we'll get ISO 27000 certified. There are total 93 controls in ISO 27001 2022. Let's create policies. What are you trying to do? What are we trying to achieve? Create a policy for what? What is your goal? So if you are living in an apartment, if you're living in a flat, or if you're living in a gated community, you write multiple policies, but at the end of the day, all policies should jointly do something for your flat association or something. Your policies should tell jointly what are they trying to achieve. So if I am here to understand or implement ISO 27001, then first I would write my information security goals and objectives. Even your ISO tells the right way, and it's the same thing ISO also talks about. If you read the standard very closely and very correctly, the clauses is where it helps you to set up information security management system. It tells you very clearly how you need to plan, do, check, act. How you're going to plan your information security goals, how you're going to write your objectives, how you're going to write strategy. Everything is documented in your ISO, but most of them skip the understanding the exact meaning of the clauses, and they straight away jump into writing policies or documentation for the controls. So that's where your clauses will come into your rescue to do this.
Okay, I got the concept, but the question behind or the motive behind this question is, like, let's say if that organization is having some sort of standard already implemented, and those information security policies, some of them are overlapping with the ISO 27001, and some of them are conflicting. In that situation, what should that person do?
Again, my simple question. Okay, I'm sorry, what's a good name?
Yeah, it's Krunal, Krunl.
Krunal, let's do a role play. I
Mm-hmm.
am I am the new CISO coming into your organization, and
Mm-hmm.
you are an information security manager reporting to previous CISO. Now I take over as your boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ask you, Krunal, do we have an information security policy? You would tell yes. I would tell what is the source for these policies? What is your answer?
It depends on how that policy was built. For instance, I would say, sir, I was handed over this policy before, or these policies were created before I took over this role. Or for instance, if I was a part of that policy creation, then I would say it is aligned with our mission, vision, and objectives of the organization to save our information based on the CIA triage.
Okay. So again, you're not clear about it. You're still, as an information security manager, you're assuming. There is a theory, okay? So there were four monkeys put it in a cage, okay? So, and they put a ladder, and at the top of the ladder, they had a bunch of bananas. So one of the monkey tried climbing the ladder, and the moment it was about to touch the banana, there was a water splurged on that monkey, and the monkey used to fall. The second monkey went, the third monkey went, fourth monkey went. The same instance happened. None of them knew why they have been splashed with water, but they understood one thing: I should not touch banana. So now they started replacing these four monkeys one by one with new monkey. And whenever the new monkey came in, the fifth monkey, whenever it went to touch that particular banana, the other rest of the monkeys tried to pull him down because the entire cage would have been splurged with water. So when they replaced all four monkeys with new set of monkeys, so the new set of monkeys didn't know why they were being pulled, and anybody who's trying to touch the banana, they were trying to pull down. That's what is happening here also. We don't know how these policies came in, okay, but we still know that these policies needs to be followed. So I, as a CISO, immediate question to you is, let's discard all the policies. If we do not know the source, why are we keeping it? Let's revamp it from the first. I need to understand what is my senior management requirement for information security goals. Then I will derive my objectives, then I will derive my strategy, and then I'll write my policy. If you write this, there will be no duplication, no dormant policies, no dormant documentation, nothing. Every document which you prepare will be precisely matching or going back to your organization information security goals. Any document which is not aligned with your organization information security goals, I would discard them. Not fully convinced, I can still help you.
I mean, yes and no. Like I was just thinking, like if there is a wheel already invented, why to reinvent the entire wheel structure? Like we can modify as per our needs, right? So we can just my basically question is, like, we can take a reference of any policy, we can modify it as per our requirement, and we can deploy it. Which we don't need to deploy a vanilla template, right?
No, my question is, why is that policy there in your organization is my question. What is the source? We don't write information security goals from a policy, correct?
Yeah. I mean, policy should be based on the goals, not goals based on the
Correct.
policy.
So now you're telling me that, okay, Santosh, I already have a policy. Now let me write the reverse engineering, reverse way, and I will tell my management, since just because I have my policy this way, you set up your information security goals like this. The moment you say this, they'll throw you out of the organization the next minute. So it's okay to have information security policies already existing. I'll keep them aside. First, let me go back and write InfoSec goals, InfoSec objectives, InfoSec strategy. Now, I will do a gap assessment between my information security strategy, the newly created one, with the existing information security policy. If it matches, I'm more than happy. If it doesn't, then what is the use of it?
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, that's all from my side. If anyone wants to take on the question, thank you.
Okay, if no questions, I'll move to the next slide. So what all should be going into your information security policy? First comes your business. There's no doubt about it, and there is no second thoughts about it. Protecting your organization information assets is your priority. And to support your business strategy, you write your information security goals and objectives and strategy. So first comes your business strategy. Okay. So how do you do that? Santosh, we do not have money. That's why we are allowing the employees to bring their own laptops. Wonderful. I will not be a showstopper, though allowing employees laptops, personal laptops for official use is not recommended. But I understand your point that you do not have money. But here, rather than being a showstopper, as an information security professional, I need to help you rather than be a showstopper. So what will I do? I come up with a strategy to support you for bring your own device. And I write my bring your own device policy. In that policy statement, I will tell what all things needs to be under consideration to allow employee's personal laptop to be connected to official network. So what can be there? I will not allow rooted devices or any outdated operating system. If somebody is bringing to my organization and connecting to my office network with Windows 95 or Windows 2000 or Windows XP or Windows 7, I will not allow. I have certain limitations. If you are bringing Windows 10 and 11 with a good antivirus being there, with good patch management being there, I can allow it. But if you're coming back and telling me that, okay, I have Windows XP, I'm doing a service for you, so you bear with me. No, sorry, I cannot agree with that. So we need to balance both the business requirements and information security requirements. The second is other department requirements. So once you deploy a policy, okay, if you do not take other department requirements, the problem is those are the stakeholders which require to implement your infosec policy, and you're not involving in the crime. So if you do not do it, the resistance to implement these policies will increase. And they will tell Santosh, you didn't even understand what our department does and what applications we have. You just write a bland infosec policy and ask us to do it. Go back and rework. So that's why do not do the mistake. When you're writing an information security policy, which is aligned with your information security goals and objectives, go to the other departments and tell them, hey, this is about to be published. What is your views about this infosec policy? Okay. For example, HR ed, legal ed, IT ed, sales, marketing, other departments. So they will give their recommendations, they'll give their feedbacks, they'll give their improvements, all those things. Indirectly, you're allowing them part of the crime. And now, once you publish, the reception will be good. They will not deny. Now you can go back to them and ask, hey, do you remember 3 months back we had developed information security policy jointly? Yes. Now I need your help in implementing within your team. User access review needs to be done quarterly basis. Now I need your team members to do it. So they will not deny, rather they will allow you to support, and they will ask the team members of their department to implement. So this is how effectively you write information security policy, by involving other departments at the publication only. Right now, what's happening is people, the CISOs write the infosec policy and he himself approves it and he asks everybody in the organization to follow. And that is where there is a lot of pushback and the CISO blames that departments are not serious. Were you serious? If you were serious, why didn't you involve them as part of development of the policy? That's very important. The third is laws and regulations. If your management is asking that let's comply with GDPR, then you have no other go. You'll have to take up the respective domains of GDPR, which needs to be implemented across the organization with respect to security, and you need to integrate it in your policy. And when you do risk assessment, whatever the risks which are being found, those can be fed back as a rule book, as a rule statement, which can go into the policy to mitigate those risks. And also there might be certain customers who might ask certain very specific things. So contract, to comply with contractual obligations, you will come up with the policy statements and you'll have to do it. Okay. So any question for you? Are we good?
Uh, uh, Hi Santosh. Santosh, is business strategy same as a context of the organization?
Yes. Business goals and objectives is nothing but your context of organization. So I cannot take up Accenture information security policy and implement in IBM. You can always tell that Santosh, IBM and Accenture are both service-based company, both have same number of departments, same number of employees, same number of locations. Why can't I copy Accenture's InfoSec policy and write it in IBM? It cannot. The context will change. IBM ways of working is completely different from Accenture, though they might be in the same business, but it's completely different. So your context of organization as part of ISO 27001 is more about understanding the context, understanding the requirements of the interested parties, identifying your external and internal issues. All three feed in back into your policy.
Santosh, one more question. Say, whenever we try to create some other different policies like asset management or access management, like who is responsible for preparing those policies?
So the preparation always falls back on the CISO and team. They have been appointed in the organization for the same objective that they are subject matter experts. So nobody in the organization will be well qualified to write information security policies. So the expectation is the CISO and team write the policy, the senior management will approve the policy, and the rest of the departments will implement the policy.
Say for example, say like let's consider a startup. Say it's been started in 2020, so they are from development background. So like now they are planning to build a in-house GRC team or something like that. So then already they have some process which's been implemented. So how do they start? Like where will they start preparing the policy? Because already they have some processes in place, right? Through some
Again,
verbal communication or something like that.
see, I'll go back and do a gap assessment. Just because it's there, I cannot be forced to use that documentation. Okay, there is a policy, Santosh, why we reinvent the wheel? Can we use the same thing? It's okay to use, but do a gap assessment if these policies are really helping you. So there was one CISO where he told that Santosh, I'm going to implement honeypot in my organization because in my previous organization, using and deploying a honeypot, we were able to understand how the hacker movement are within my network. What is honeypot? Honeypot is nothing but a decoy system. It acts like a spoofed environment of yours. So hacker will think that okay, he was able to hack into your systems, but an honeypot is a decoy which will track all the hackers' movements and they will report back to you saying that this is what the hacker is trying to do within your network. Now please get started. Now, a CISO, the same or CISO of a very large organization who implemented honeypot and he got good appreciation, he joined a startup and now he is trying to forcefully buy an honeypot and implement just because he had a very good success. This startup is nowhere known to anybody. They are still in development and honeypot comes with a cost. And now, where are you there? You cannot copy something else which worked in the past and you can do it. Rather, I will do a gap assessment. Is it really required over here? So the same thing coming back here, when I'm writing an information security policy, if it is already there, I'm good, I'm happy. But is it really meeting the requirement of the organization? What the organization really wanted is these policies are relevant, applicable, and making sense to me. So how will I do that? First, let me understand my information security goals and objectives, and then I will write my strategy to achieve that. To implement my strategy effectively to across the organization, that's where policies will come into picture. And now to implement my strategy in the most effective way, which is implemented, which is requirement to implement infosec by everybody in the organization, is my existing policy helping me do that? If it is yes, then go ahead. If not, change your policy. Coming back to your example, if you're in-house, you yourself are being a developer, now you have been asked to form as the GRC team. Now you're playing a dual role, but still you're considered as a security team. Now you will have to develop and take it back to your CEO and tell that, okay, I have taken a role of security team member. Now, this is what the policies were there, and these are the things which I'm proposing changes because these policies did not meet your information security goals and objectives. Now, what should we do? So that's how you take it forward.
Do we document the gap assessment as well?
Yeah, it's very much important to document the gaps and present it to your senior management. That shows the trust, and they'll be able to get more assurance from your side that you're going in the right direction. Because policies are the baseline for any organization, and if you go wrong here, then your entire foundation goes wrong, and your entire building might fall down anytime.
Thank you, Santosh.
Just I have inquiry. Is the budget can affect the policy? Like you said, the strategy and objectives, and you went to your CEO to get the budget, but the budget is limited, so this will affect your policy.
Okay, so who is this?
This is me. This is Mahmoud.
Okay, so I will tell you that can you safeguard your house? Okay. Now, how to safeguard your house is a decision which you can take it. You can buy a dog and ensure that the dog guards your house, or you can go for a security guard who will guard your house, but it will be a little more expensive. Or you can have a, if you cannot trust both the dog and the security guard because they might sleep at any point in time, so you might go for a motion sensor CCTV to be installed across your house. It's up to you. So a policy will always tell what needs to be done. How you're going to do it, using technology or using a manual or using people, using process, it's up to you. So policies will never recommend what technology to be used. It will always tell again what needs to be done. So the how you're going to do it. For example, user access should be restricted to authorized users only. So how you can implement by simple username and password, or if you have money, you can go for single sign-on, or you can go for multi-factor authentication. The security will increase. Security controls will increase. Controls come to the cost, but still I'm able to modify and I'm able to meet the requirements of the policy based on the consideration of the budget. So what I'm trying to tell over here is budgets play a role after policy. How do you intend to implement a policy? That's where your budget will come into picture, or else policy do not care for budget at all.
But okay, but you said the policy, and you said what should be achieved as objectives. Okay, but then when you try to get the resources to implement the policy, you have a limitation in the budget. So
What will I do in that case as a CISO? Should I sit back? No. I will try to educate my senior management to approve additional budget. If they do not do it, then what will I do? I will go for compensatory controls which can help me meeting my policy without overburdening my budget. I cannot sit back, right? So if this, for example, all the logs should be reviewed. The most effective manner is SIM, deploying a SIM solution. Now, if you do not have a budget to SIM, what can I do? I need to ensure there is no unauthorized access or incidents happening. So I've asked my team member to manually review all the logs. I know this is not effective, but what to do? I have no budget for SIM. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to meet my policy. Hook or crook, I'm trying to do it. But policy will never tell that based on your budget, revise your policy statement. No, policies are like a management statements. They are very authoritative in nature. They will tell it should be done. How you will be doing it, you will be trying to check up all your budgets and you intend to do it with the technology or without technology, or with budget or without budget. It's up to you. But policies usually do not depend on budget. Policies do not care about technology. They will tell what needs to be done. How you need to do is up to you.
Thus, we can say that the policy could affect by the budget in a way of a security degree.
See, that's where budgets will be approved at a strategy level. When you are, how do you get a budget for your information security initiatives? I told you, if you recall, I go and take my strategy document and tell them, hey guys, last week you had told me to write information security goals and objectives, which is supporting my business. I wrote and you guys approved it. Now to achieve those goals and objectives, I have written my strategy. Now you have approved this also. Now to implement strategy, will you give me money? So I get the budget requirements at the strategy level only, not at a policy level. So strategy document is purely written to make the senior management understand what are you trying to do with information security in their organization. Are you going in the right direction to help the business? And to go in that roadmap, you need money, and the budget is approved at the strategy level. Clear? Not clear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
finally it
clear.
makes sense.
I'm sorry?
Santosh,
Yes,
I
we
have
said it's clear. You can go ahead.
Okay, great.
Santosh, I have one query. So, is it mandatory to discuss with other departments? So, and one more query, like for example, if I want to go for the migration, ISO 27001 migration from 2013 to 2022. So, is it again we need to go back to the other departments for the implementation part?
Yeah, see, if you it's not if you think it's not mandatory, it will not become effective. Having said that, will I not be successful? You will be successful, but the effective way of writing a policy is seeking other department requirements, seeking other departments, because you as an information security team, you will not be implementing. It's them who will be implementing. So it's good to take them into consideration. Hey, I'm writing a statement which you need to implement in future. Are you okay with it? Tell me if there is any issues. We'll sort it out right away. Tomorrow, you should not tell that InfoSec policy is not in line or too tough or too rocket science. I'm not able to understand. Don't come up with some kind of stories to avoid implementation. Tell me whatever it is right now before it is officially published on the portal where everybody in the organization does it. If you do this approach, trust me, then there will be no second thoughts by the IT team when they are asked to implement. Now, what is happening? You are not going and consulting IT, and you're going after implementing the policy. After publishing the policy, you're asking them, hey, you follow this. Why should I follow this? This is what the IT team will tell. But if you take the other reverse approach where you tell them that, hey, we both are friends, let's write a very great document and let's do it, let's implement. There is a change in mindset.
Okay, so that means like from the initial stage itself, we need to take their opinion and work as a team, right?
Yes. Yes. You try doing this with your IT team, never you will face any challenges in implementing any controls with IT. They cannot contradict their own statements. They would have
But
given certain things. They will also be part of your implementation, or else you will
but
always struggle.
but if they denied, like if they said like you are part of information security team, and why should we present on this? Why will be part of this activity? And later they will say like we are not part of information security and we cannot do this.
No, that's why you need to get your management for support. If you are from IT, I am from CISO. I will go and talk to our senior management and tell them that I have written a very good policy based on your business requirements. Now I seek support from others in the organization. So tomorrow they should not tell that we will not implement. That's why I'm giving an opportunity for them right away that right away that whatever your concerns are, whatever your requirements are, let us know.
Okay. Thank you, Santosh. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next slide. So, as I told, do not, if I have to pick up 10 information security policies of 10 different organizations, everything will look similar because they have all copied from the same document. Do not do that mistake. Your policies should always be customized to your organization. Ensure that you write such a kind of policy that any other organization tries to copy, they will not be able to follow that, because it should be very much customized to your business, your objectives. And you need to ask questions or to your management, like what types of data is there, what is your biggest concern, tell me, talk to me, I'm here to help you. Do that kind of conversation, and it has to be tailored to your specific organization. That's one thing. If you do not understand what your organization is doing, you'll not be able to write an information security policy effectively. So many times when I go and join as an organization, any organization, a new member, if they tell me like, hey, write infosec policies by tomorrow, tell me what are the top 10 risks. No, I'm not going to do that. Without even knowing your organization, I am not going to write any risk. I'm not going to write any policy. Give me 1 week time. Let me understand your entire organization. What is your goals? What is your objectives? What is your business plan? Where exactly are you located? How many employees are there? What all vendors are there? What data do you produce? Where the data is being stored? Which all departments have access? All these things are required. Without which, I'm going to write a standard policy which is no different from any other organization. And what is the value add you bring onto the table? Nothing. So step one, assess your organization needs. Step two, define the scope and the objectives. So what is it trying to cover by the policy? You write the scope and you write the policy statement. The policy applies to all information systems, data, and users within XYZ Corp, including third-party vendors with access to company data. So here, you're trying to bring everybody into the scope, including your contractors. You're bringing everything, including systems, data, and users, and applying this policy to everybody in the organization. This is how you draft a boundary in your policy crystal clear. And now coming to the objectives, what is this policy is trying to achieve is what I write an objective. It should be clearly measurable. Okay. So metrics are derived from objectives. That's what we keep telling. So it should align with overall business objective. For example, if I have to write an objective for an healthcare company or an healthcare hospital, my objective would be to ensure 100% HIPAA compliance for patient data, implement multi-factor authentication for all systems containing patient health information. So if it is finance, my objective is to achieve PCI DSS compliance for all credit card processing system, reduce security incident by 50% within next fiscal year. E-commerce, implement end-to-end encryption for all customer transactions, conduct quarterly security audits for the entire technology stack. Manufacturing, secure industrial control systems against cyber physical attacks, implement a comprehensive IoT device security program. I cannot take a policy of manufacturing and implement in healthcare, because the manufacturing sector is not even concerned about any personally electronic patient health information. It's more about the SCADA systems and the OT system. So that's where I keep telling that if you take up an information security policy of manufacturing company and you try to copy the same thing in healthcare, the actual essence of healthcare is to protect the patient data, where there will be no reference in your manufacturing information security policy, and you end up writing a wrong infosec policy. So that is why it is very important to write an information security policy which is tailored to your organization, specific to your organization. And how am I able to understand all these things? By understanding the business. My business is Amazon. So now I know it's in e-commerce. What I need to do, customer comes first. Customer is the king. So I need to protect customer. I need to give a wonderful customer experience. So it's very much required for me to protect the customer transactions. There is no concept called electronic patient health information. So I cannot take an healthcare infosec policy and focus on e-commerce. So very much important when you're writing an information security policy. So let's take up a case study. There is a company X, which was a mid-sized software development firm, initially created a broad policy covering all aspects of information security, and they found it difficult to implement. Too many objectives, employees were overwhelmed with security requirements. What did they do? I have seen this. They liked NIST, they liked ISO, they liked COBIT, they liked this requirement, that requirement, put everything and made a 400 pages policy document and asked everybody to do it. Wow, we have created a 400-page policy document. Now this is the brilliant. But in reality, nobody is implementing it. Why? We don't have time to go through that policy. Even the CISO team will be struggling to understand what did he write in that. Creating a bulky document is not going to help you in creating a very good, effective information security posture in your organization. Even if it is simple, even if it is short and concise, it has to meet your top 3 cybersecurity or information security objectives of your organization. So now what did they do? They went back and spoke to the management. Tell me what are the key things which we need to focus. They told Santosh, we are building an application which is something yet to be out in the market. And once it is out, it is having customer sensitive information, and it should be continuing to up and running anytime. So now I understood that my objective is to protect the source code, to protect the customer data, and ensure up and running. So this way, my policies will be focused on these 3 objectives and try to build on these 3 objectives. So now it will not look bulky. So this is how you try to narrow down your policy and you try to achieve what you wanted to do it. Having a 400 pages policy document will never take you anywhere. So what are the key takeaways, key stakeholders? The CISO team, the IT department, the legal counsel, the human resources department head. IT representative, they are the one who are going to implement. It's very important to get their consent. Legal counsel, if there are any legal implications or to comply with laws and regulations, you need to get support from them. HR for communication of the policies, it's very important, and department heads to implement within their departments. Like this, you need to identify the key stakeholders and tell them what are their roles and responsibilities at the beginning itself. So if you open an information security policy, what all things will be there? Scope, objectives, roles and responsibilities, compliance, review and update. So let me show you how an information security policy would look like. So I'm hoping you're able to see my screen still. Can you see my screen still?
No, Santosh.
I'm sharing my full screen Word document. Are you able to see my Word document?
Yes, Santosh, we are able to see.
Yes, yes, we
Okay.
can see.
So this is a very small information security policy. So if you see that, it has the purpose of the policy. If I told you the objectives is very much important. So yeah, this is where it is trying to create a structure, create a boundary, and creating the end goal of this document. Objectives is very much important. So what are we trying to achieve with this policy? The scope, and then the supporting documents. I can integrate all these policies into the same document, but I don't want to make it bulky. So I created separate policies for each and every individual things. But this is a parent document. We call it as InfoSec policies with reference to the children policies. So then I document the responsibilities and then I start writing my policy statement. Like what am I trying to do it? One thing or 2 things, in fact, which is very much crucial to tell that continuous improvement. Your policy cannot be a stale document. Your policy should be continuously improved. And second, it should comply with applicable requirements, legal requirements, contractual requirements. And then you go back and talk about security risk and how the requirements come in. and you write a high level policy statement. This is where your policy starts, and you write all these policy statements. But if you ask me, yeah, here it is. All these are policy statements. So tomorrow, if I ask Santosh, why did you write this? I should be able to go back to my strategy and tell that, hey, see, in my strategy, this is one of the requirement to protect people from unauthorized intruders coming into my organization. This is coming, this will be an output of your strategy. And again, this will be input to my physical security policy. So I need to show that mapping very clearly, and only then I'll be able to do it. So if you see here, I have written all the policies, but here, this particular document, whatever I'm showing, is an output of your strategy document, your information security strategy. So this is 17-page document. Again, I could have made all the policies put over here itself, but I did not do it. The reason is simple. I wanted to keep it lightweight. And whenever people require for that particular domain, I can hyperlink it over here and I can go back and review the individual document. But what are the key things? You might think that Santosh, these are statements very generic in nature. No, I'm made to customize this. This is something standard which I've created, but this is not something ready to use. This is just like a skeleton. I need to further customize it once I start working with that organization. I'm going to understand their goals, their objectives, their strategy, and then I will implement that. This is how I usually write my policy statement. So these are the major domains: asset management, access control, cryptography, physical and environmental security, communication security, systems acquisition, that is nothing but software development, supplier relationship, information security, incident management, business continuity management. So these are the major domains. There is no prizes for guessing. These are all coming from ISO 27001. That's how ISO.
Santosh, we are not able to see your screen.
Oh, is it? Now you're able to see my screen?
No, we can't. We
No,
can't.
not
Yes,
able.
we can't.
No.
You can see
Yeah,
now?
Yeah, now we are
it's
able
okay.
to see.
Perfect. So this is how you write an information security policy, and these are all domains coming from ISO 27001. And ISO 27001 is a framework to help you implement information security in a structured way. That's it. So how effectively you're going to use ISO 27001 as a framework to implement your information security or as a backbone, it's up to you. But these are the domains which are coming from your ISO 27001, 2022, 93 controls are stuffed into these domains and you implement in your organization. But again, having said that, a password policy for your organization will be completely different from another organization. One key takeaway is you cannot copy paste somebody else's policy. It has to be tailor made. How do you make it tailor made? By understanding your information security goals, objectives, and strategy. So on that note, I think I'll be ending this small topic